Well, hello plant friends. My name is Alonia and welcome to my channel. I'm coming to you from beautiful, somewhat cold and a little wintry Western Sydney. I'm a novice orchid grower navigating and learning the world of orchids. And if you're new here, I share my tips and tricks that I've learned on my quest on how to care for these beautiful plants so that they can thrive in our mid subtropical Aussie climate. Today, we're diving into the world of the Stanhopea genus, specifically Stanhopea gravelans, and no, that is not the name of a Harry Potter spell. It is, however, the name of a beautifully magical orchid that comes with one very important rule. It needs to go in a hanging basket. So, Stanhopea gravelans, it sounds fancy, right? Well, it actually kind of is. The Stanhopea genus is named for the fourth Earl of Stanhope, Philip Henry Stanhope, who was the president of the Medico-Botanical Society of London from 1829 to 1837. And gravelans comes from the Latin meaning strong smelling. When this beauty does flower, does not hold back in the scent department. When they do flower in midsummer or Christmas here in the Southern Hemisphere, your whole patio will smell like a botanical day spa. This one hasn't flowered for me yet, but I have smelt it on other plants and wow. So the distribution, where are these from? Well, they're native to Central and South America. Think Mexico down through Central America and into Colombia. It thrives in the cloud forests at elevations ranging from sea level to 2,700 metres, which actually makes them perfect for our subtropical conditions here in Sydney. So humidity tick, warm temperatures tick, the occasional chaotic rainstorm, double check. It should be able to cope year round outside for me, and they do tolerate temperatures down to about 10 to 12 degrees Celsius, but I'm undercover and we don't freeze, so it should be okay. But I do have space inside if I really need it when we get down to those single digit Celsius temperatures. It also coped quite well during the extreme heat we experienced in February, where it got 52 degrees Celsius out here, although I did take it inside to mitigate the heat stress. So why a hanging basket? So Stanhopea has a quirky little party trick. Unlike traditional orchids where the flower spikes go up, these bloom downwards. Yep, the flower spike actually grows down through the roots, through the planting media, and out the bottom of the plant. So if you plant them in a regular pot, you'll never see the flowers. It's much like watching a movie with the TV facing the wall, just doesn't work. So select either a slatted wooden or wire hanging basket, line it with sphagnum moss or coconut fibre, and leave space at the bottom so your orchid can flower. Your eyeballs will thank you when those flowers make their grand entrance. Stanhopeas love a loose, airy mix. You want great drainage, but also moisture retention. I've used a combo of large to medium orchid bark, sphagnum moss, charcoal, the horticultural kind, not the barbecue kind, and a good handful of perlite. So you want a balance between not soggy and a little bit crunchy, rather like a good pavlova. These guys enjoy bright indirect light, so morning sunshine is great and afternoon sun not quite so much. If the leaves start to look a little bit sunburnt, it's time to move it. If you're wondering what bright indirect light is, think dappled light under a tree or a nice spot under a shade cloth, or in my case, hanging under a planter that is home to part of my herb garden. This space gets direct morning sun from the east and is protected from the north from about 10 o'clock onwards. The wall behind me is west, so it is fully protected from that setting sun as well. I also have a tree just here, so the plant is very well protected from direct light. This plant is now nice and bright green, and that tells me it's getting the right amount of light. The darker the colour, the more light they require. They're basically tropical introverts. They love the light, but not the spotlight. Stanhopeas are a bit thirsty during the growing season of spring and summer. So in spring, I start watering them about 2 to 3 times a week. I've got 2 different ones. And in summer, as the mercury soars, I water them daily, especially if it is hot and dry. In winter, I ease off the watering a bit, just enough to stop the pseudobulbs from shriveling into tiny prunes. During winter, I water weekly, and I also keep the humidity up around the 50 to 70%, which is ideal. If your climate is on the dry side, consider misting daily or having a humidity tray underneath, or maybe doing the occasional rain dance. When it is super hot, I do pour a bucket of water over the pavers on the floor. The evaporation keeps the humidity up, the temperature even, and as a bonus, it keeps my floor clean. I feed my Stanhopea regularly during the growing season. I use a balanced orchid fertilizer every week or so, and I dilute to half or quarter strength, sometime even 1/16, depending on what I'm feeding it. If I'm using an organic fertilizer, I will dilute to half or quarter strength, with chemical fertilizers being diluted to 1/8 or 1/16. I also ensure to use fresh water every couple of weeks to prevent the salts from the chemical fertilizers building up and the roots becoming burnt. There is an old saying, water weekly, weekly. Sounds like a thing. I just run with it. Winter, as we're coming into, is a rest time for Stanhopeas, kind of like when we stop going to the beach and you start binge watching your favourite shows while wearing your favourite gym jams and woolly socks. We also need to care for our plants doubly in winter. Timing is key. Orchids can tolerate being cold or wet, but not both, so choosing when to water is an important consideration. The weather is cooler, often more overcast, and the planting media doesn't dry out as quickly. So I also water in the morning as the sun is up to prevent plants getting cold and wet and potentially getting root rot. Watering once a week, as I said, just to keep the plant from dehydrating, keeping it nice and moist. No fertilizer is needed over winter for this genus, although I do add a pinch of magnesium and a teaspoon of sea salt seaweed tonic every couple of weeks to keep the plant roots happy. Winter being damp is also a great time for fungi to invade your plant. So I will wipe the leaves down with an isopropyl alcohol wipe to kill any fungal spores, and so far this has worked for me. It also reduces the need for some fungicide spray as the season progresses, and as these guys don't love the cold, although they can tolerate it for a little while, for the most part, I keep mine outside but under hard cover. And if it does get below 10 degrees at night for more than a couple of nights in a row, I do take it inside to give it some protection. I simply check the weather forecast every few days for the week to give myself some time to think and plan and make space up inside if I don't already have a space to protect it. So the last thing you can do in learning to care for your orchid babies is to investigate joining an orchid club. These clubs are groups of orchid enthusiasts coming together to geek out about their favourite topic, which is, of course, orchids. Growing tips, what does and doesn't work for them in a climate that's maybe similar to yours, bringing plants to show and bench may serve as inspiration. The list of benefits is endless. You can also pick up some unusual types of plants that you won't find at your local nursery or even at Bunnings, and they're usually really well priced as well. I picked up these totally unrelated jewel orchids for $14 for the pair, so it was well worth my time and energy and my $15 a year membership fee to join the club. So Google up Orchid Club near me. There should be something in your area. If you're in Australia, each state or territory usually has a website that lists all the society branches in the state, and you can browse the listings for a club near you. You also don't have to join right away. They'll accept visitors quite happily. And I've made a few new friends, and it's a lovely environment to learn about my new obsession. So plant friends, Stanhopea graveolens, what a total showstopper, but only if you let it shine in the right setup. Hanging basket, absolutely essential. A little care, a little patience, and boom, you too will get those wild upside down flavours that smell like absolute heaven. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more orchid tips, and leave a comment if you've grown one of these gorgeous bloomers yourself. I'll also leave a link somewhere here for you to check out one of my other videos that might also interest you. But until next time, thanks for watching. Happy growing, enjoy your plants, and remember, your orchids are always just waiting to surprise you. Bye for now.